Harmonic laws in harmony. Harmonic laws. So, welcome evolutionaries. I have talked to you over the last 50 episodes. It's hard to believe this is my 51st episode. I can't even believe that I've done 50 episodes where I've been able to share these mystical harmonic teachings with you. So it's very exciting for me to kind of break that barrier now, number 51. Actually, I didn't even realize I did 50 last time. Otherwise, I'd be like, well, I did 50. Well, anyway, so welcome to episode 51. And this is going to be a special episode because while I've talked to you about each of the components of the harmonic laws and how they all work together, I've never actually done a video of all three working in unison and how they synchronize, harmonize to create this effervescence God force within you so it bubbles up from the wellspring of heaven, of this amazing force within you so that you can truly step out and actualize that you are a creator God. And why do I say actualize? Because there are multiple steps, and when people talk about belief, belief is actually the weakest. And I don't like using the word belief anyway because right in the middle of the word belief is the word lie. So it's a trickery, if you will, because if you believe something, it doesn't really mean you believe it per se. And then, of course, there's knowing. And knowing really is more of a human aspect, a mortal aspect of kind of really getting it in your head space. And then beyond that, there's realization. So realization is really kind of the bringing together of spirit with the mortal forces together. And then there's actualization. And so this is really what I am my intention is here today is to bring you through into realization and move you into actualization. And the really fun thing is I've been getting more and more emails and messages that people are having more mystical experiences, and it's really exciting to me where their psychic abilities are leveling up. I mean, it's just all these interesting kind of fun things, and some of you even give me crazy nicknames like Buddha beads. So I think I've worn these in just about every episode, and so one of you calls me Buddha beads when they send me a quick note. So I love that, and we're just one great big family because my whole goal again is to help you bridge and just move past this reincarnation cycle so we can move on beyond Earth School and remove all of the materialism that is plaguing this planet. It's bringing us down into the lower frequencies and it's created duality. So when you look at the law of attraction or any materialistic type of law, you've got duality. And in my last video, I talked about triality, which is reintroducing spirit into the mortal realm of duality. And now what happens is you become more spirit, and I've talked about this before with the percentages of becoming more God than human while in mortal form. And this goes back to some of my earliest teachings around being bioetheric or becoming more bioetheric. You can even think about it as biospiritual. But the bioetheric, and as I've shared with you, the etheric realm is where your chakras, where the God force comes from. So the etheric is godly. I've talked about the astral realm being not so good. It's like a place for demons where they hang out. You don't want to play there. You want to stay in the etheric. And so this bioetheric body that we are moving into by these types of studies allows us to regain the types of bodies we had in Atlantis and Lemuria, where we were bioetheric. We were these beyond plasma-like beings, and maybe I'll do an episode on the plasma body, which nobody really talks about. But nobody really talks about the stuff I talk about anyway, because they're doing the same narrative. So let me talk and share with you about the harmonic laws of evolution. So as I've talked to you about very early on, I talked to you about the law of attunement, which is also what I call the law of at-one-ment. And so the law of at-one-ment is the highest possible God self purging all darkness from that immediate state that you're in. So let me say that again. Highest possible God self purging all darkness. So this is the equalization of where you are with regards to the God force, and you've reached this level of the wellspring, if you will. And then from there, we move into the law of attunement, which again, we are attuning to an up-leveling to a greater aspect of God. And that's really important, because as we go through this, people don't really get that they need to up-level. They pray and they do certain things, but they're still in that same lower resonance. They're not accelerating or up-leveling where they are. And that's actually one of the keys to this. And this is why some of you, and hopefully all of you, are having some type of newfound mystical experience. And then, of course, that ties into the law of blossoming, which is the law of amplification, which is what I originally named it, because I wanted to have 3 A's. Well, you know me. But the interesting thing is the middle thing, and I've talked about permeation and how all of these work together to permeate the God force within your structure, is really accretion. So I've actually come up with 4 A's now, but accretion is the permeation of all of this. So the law of blossoming is the divine blossoming of who you are, the expansion of all of 3's combined. And of course, this all functions off of the law of phi. So as you can see the circle, so each one has its unique definition relative to the golden ratio. And what is the golden ratio? The golden ratio is God's mathematics. This mathematics of expansion follows the natural rule of the physical universe and beyond. And this is really important to understand. This is actually probably one of the most critical things, is that, as I mentioned a minute ago, people, when they focus on their spirituality, they go into meditation, but it's not really expansionary. It's not, they don't practice expansionary practices, because it's not only a matter of expanding the forces within you, and this is something that nobody I've ever seen on any video ever teach, is you've also, think about this, this vessel that you're in. This is a container. And so what we're doing, and I've talked a little bit about this before, by expanding your God force throughout, so you're touching people. But what you're doing by that expansion is you're broadening, you're increasing the volume of your container. So where people in other types of studies are just kind of like looking at a container, their personal container is yay big. And they could be talking about angels or this or that, but their container is about this big. What's happening with these, this triality that Spirit has given me to share with you, is it opens up the container. So now the container is able to include and flow in more spiritual volume. So it's like opening up your faucets full blast, whereas other spiritual practitioners are just getting a drip, or maybe they're getting something, a little bit more than a drip. But this is the whole key, is to open up the flow of the wellspring of God from within. And this is why I say it's from within, because we are creators. It's not really that it comes from the top. I don't even know who made that up. Because if you think something is external, whoever made that up, which the bad guys did, and unfortunately people follow that crazy advice, then that means that you're not whole. It means that you are not the creator. It means something is coming in to create you. So they've stolen your power. And I'm here to give you your power back. The God force of who you are, this awakening, this blossoming, and it's really exciting when we go through all this, because what happens is when all of these are moving in a clockwise expansionary momentum, it creates coherence. And this coherence is something that heart math has talked about with the heart-mind coherence, but this is actually beyond heart-mind, because they're focusing just in the physical realm. What I am sharing with you today is directly tied with the physical to the spiritual, to the etheric. And so we are broadening and expanding this God force in opening the container, the nozzles wide open. And this is really exciting, because as we go into more of these crazy times, we need to truly grasp what's going on in order to graduate from Earth School, because there's going to be people when this whole craziness comes to an end that have to go to Earth School all over again. And I want each and every one of you to graduate with honors, of course. Oh, top of the class. So you guys, you're awesome. So when we look at this, funny enough, I was kind of flipping through a book of old Celtic type of runes and different ancient symbology, and I came across the Trisk lion, and you may have seen the three spirals in the Celtic culture. I was like, oh wow, that's really kind of exactly kind of the picture that I had in my mind that my guides gave me around this harmony, or the harmony around the harmonic laws. I was like, wow, this is so cool. It's like, and maybe because they talk about it as land, sea, and air, but maybe that also was corrupted, because there are so many things that are ancient in nature that they've played with the narrative, like the Bible and other religious books. The Bible originally had 777 books in it, and it's been weaned down. It's also been highly edited. So the true message is somewhat not exactly where it was. And then, of course, for those in the know, is the Bible itself was one of many, a library of spiritual interplanetary books. So the Bible was specific to Earth in humans. Again, Hu meaning that we are of God. Hu is an ancient name of God, and man means the mind of God. And of course, when I did the video a while back on Cain and Abel to distinguish where and how the fallout of all of this is going to happen, the Abels are the humans. The Cains are mankind. So it's humankind versus mankind. So mankind is the corrupted genetic experiment that, well, that's a whole different video, but those are the ones that are going to suffer, if you will. And I'm not even worried about that, because the only people that would be attracted to this type of video is the humans, because you are interested in evolving, evolution. And see, this is really where the difference between evolution and ascension falls into place. Is ascension just basically means that I'm going to pop up. So, but you have to evolve your thinking. For example, I was having a conversation with my youngest son, who's just about to turn 21, so he knows everything. He's like, Dad, he goes, you can't stay on a linear thought. I'm like, well, I don't think linearly, son. I think holographically, because I'm sitting here dancing around these different points he's talking about and giving various examples, and he's like very structured, and it was good fun. Although he did get a little frustrated with me, so I'm sure I'm gonna have to buy him dinner or something like that. But anyway, we love each other tremendously, and all my boys. I've got 3 boys. I think I've told you that. I've talked about my oldest son, who's like this crazy genius math guy. He can do calculus in his head. That's certainly not my gift. But the holographic, and this is really some of the things I've shared with you before with regards to angelic jump points and other things in some of my very early episodes, is really pertains to looking at a thought, if you will, from different perspectives, because it's very easy to move that around, and I've given some other different videos on this as well. So it's really important to we understand triality and bringing spirit in and moving from duality and creating this this new reality here on Earth, and that's really what it's all about. And this is really exciting. So as we move through all this, we again create this, we become more God than human. And this is where we were, again, back in Atlantis and Lemuria. We had a greater concept of being these 12 to 15 foot light beings. We were telepathic, we were breatharians, just this amazing thing. And as you go through this, you begin to, just like being psychic, you're able to see energies, but also as you go through this and evolve, you don't no longer need to eat as much, because your body naturally pulls nutrition, because everything is in the ethos, if you will, in the surrounding environment. So if your body, for example, needs vitamin Bs or whatever it might be, you get to a point with regards to the escalation of your spiritual beingness. And those nutritions, which is why and how a breatharian functions, they are automatically absorbed into your body, and your body has this calibration system. It's fascinating. And maybe I'll do a video on breatharianism. It's something that I've studied. I've actually fasted for, 15 days, and really you feel amazing. And then there was one period of time where I ate nothing but raw food, so uncooked raw veggies and fruits for 3.5 years. And quite frankly, so that's about as close to being a breatharian as you can get without actually becoming and just stop eating food. And I can tell you that's probably the closest that I've ever felt to God. Now today I'm vegetarian, but I also recognize that I am moving back into the vegan / raw space and will become more high raw. So high raw is essentially moving to 80% plus raw food, and then you may have 20% which is cooked. Now that cooked food, and again, maybe I should do a whole video on this, really deals with dehydrated food. So it's food that is put in a dehydrator. Now a dehydrator essentially, while it draws the moisture out of the food, it dehydrates the food at less than 118 degrees. And what that does, it keeps all the enzymes in the food alive. Anyway, I didn't mean to go quite down this rabbit hole, but it's fascinating because I really wanted to kind of lay out this roadmap, and maybe this is part of what I was supposed to share today. It obviously is, because as we advance, we in the spiritual basis of who we are, and begin that realization, not belief or not knowing, but the realization, we begin to function and think at a completely different level. We crave new things. We are able to become creators. And this is actually an aha moment that I had in meditation the other day as I was kind of thinking or contemplating, because I do a special type of meditation called contemplative meditation. And it came to me, what is the big thing around humans? What is it, the thing that we create that mankind cannot create? Drum roll, please. It's love. I create love. I love you. You create love. We as humans create love. And by doing this, as I mentioned, the God within us expands. But really, what is that God within us? It's love. And of course, as we love more, create more love, we love ourselves, our body temple, because this temple, this vessel, is not who we are, but we love it, we nurture it, and then we are able to really create this greater harmony with it and live and not fall victim to pestilence or disease or anything, because we've got this radiance of God within us. And this really goes to the video I did probably 4, 5, 6, 7 episodes ago on the solar sun within us. This is the God spark, and it's spelled S-O-U-L-A-R. And this really gets into really becoming this amazing bioetheric being that we are, and becoming, again, more God than mortal. And it's really exciting, which actually also raises a very interesting point, which I'll probably do a whole video on this. Now, actually, I'm going to wait and do a video on this, but it's around the light body, and just kind of blowing up that myth around the light body. You'll enjoy it. Now, the people that teach on light bodies won't enjoy it so much, but I'm going to blow up that whole myth for you. So with this, mystical experiences, we're expanding the container of love, of God within us, because we create love. And that's one of the things that mankind, these people that rule the world, can't stand. They want to conquer. They want to defeat love. You and I are the last bastion. We are the lions, if you will, that are guarding the God force of love here on planet Earth. And it's up to us never to step into fear, to be courageous, as I talked about in an earlier video around being that lion, the lion like Richard the Lionheart. The courage comes from your heart. And people get this mixed up. So they talk about love being the opposite of fear, and that's not true. Courage is the opposite of fear, because you move forward with courage whether you're fearful or not. But here's the point, is love powers or empowers courage. So they do work in harmony, but courage is the forefront. That is where we are putting on the full armor of God, the spiritual armor, to do battle with the dark forces. So with that, let me know if you have any questions, because we've got, again, Law of Atonement, which is at-one-ment. This is the basis, the jumping off point. Each time we do a revelation of the law of Phi, the golden law of God. Then the law of attunement, where we up-level to a greater aspect of who we are. Again, we're expanding. And of course, the law of blossoming, which is the filling of the expanded vessel. It is the amplification all of who we are with the accretion, the permeation of the God force for all around us. And this is really exciting to me because, again, we are creating something new here on planet Earth. I say new, something that's forgotten. We're bringing spirit back into and creating this amazing force of triality. We're moving out of duality and we're bringing others with us. And yes, will the dark forces try to stop this? Of course they will, but they can't, because we live in a basis of love. What was it that Obi-Wan Kenobi, Star Wars, said that, when Darth Vader was going to strike him down, he said, "If you do, I'll be greater than you could ever imagine." And that's really where we are today. We're at a point that we are becoming greater than we can ever imagine. And this is not egotistical. This is really realizing who we are. We are not just mere mortals. We are more than that. We are empowered. And remember, mankind doesn't have a soul. Humankind does, and I did a video on this a while back and went through the percentages of who has souls and who doesn't, who's a star seed, who's an etheric, an angelic, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. But but the point I'm trying to make here and now is each one of you that is watching this video is here. You are integrating the spiritual realm into the physical realm to create triality, and that is so exciting. As we, it's like the old, the cup. I mean, we're actually filling the cup. We're creating a bigger cup, filling that cup. This is, in my mind, the ancient goblet that that we drink from. This is the nectar of God that we are creating here on Earth as we grow and expand. So let me know your thoughts. I love you guys, of course, because we as humans create love. Let me know your thoughts, and I look forward to catching up with you really soon. Okay, much love. All right, bye-bye.